Hey guys, welcome back to the Sholty family homestead. I'm Tony. Today we are going to be harvesting our basil seeds. I let them go to seed this year so that we would be able to harvest to plant for next year. I plan on hopefully starting a whole bunch and being able to sell them at the farmer's market. I have actually never harvested basil seeds before, but I have watched the M.I. Gardener video and Luke did a great job at explaining it, so I am going to go off of what he did and see how we can do. You see, I have a whole bunch of basil that's gone to seed, so we are going to get started. So what we're looking for on the basil is actually for all of the little seed pods to be brown and nicely dried up. And most of these are, we still have, like back here, some of these are still a little bit green. So what we're going to do is just pull off just the brown ones that are dry enough that we will be able to get the seeds out. So I have a plastic dish tub that we use for processing meat and our tomatoes and everything. And I am just going to grab onto it just like this and pull them off right into the tub. That way we don't lose any. The tub is big enough, and some of them are kind of hard on there, so you might have to pull quite a bit. This is a very fragrant process because, as you know, basil is very fragrant to begin with, and the seeds are no different. So we're just gonna pull them all off so that we have the seeds to be able to get out. This is the easiest part of the process. It's not hard in general, but the next part takes a little bit, kind of time consuming. But to have free basil seeds for pretty much the rest of your life, because if you know how to do it and you are able to do them every year, you're never really going to have to pay for them again, because one plant will produce enough seed that I will never, with just one plant, I would never have to buy seeds again, because each one of these little flower heads is a seed pod. So we just pull them off, but if I can start basil to sell at a farmer's market next year, which I plan on doing, our area isn't really big on smaller farmers markets. We have a couple of big ones that are pretty expensive to get into. The one that's actually closest to us is, I believe, almost $200 for a weekend to be there. And they want you to actually sign a contract for the whole summer or whatever season they're in. And I don't really agree with that. So, because we actually planted our basil in tubs, I'm going to turn it. But here's some more of the green ones that we don't want. So we're going to, I think, here's some brown ones. But we're going to leave most of this plant out here still to dry off some more. We're just going to pull off the ones that we can, and I'm going to set that one aside and move on to the next one. I'm doing this in real time so that you can see how fast it goes. I have 4 6-inch pots that we made or planted our basil in. And I believe there's 2 plants in each one. So just to see how fast this part of the process goes. Being able to pull them off into your tub. And they just peel right off. If they're not ready, they don't come off very easy or at all. So we'll just leave those on there until the next time we come out and are able to pull off some more seed. But that whole pot is done already. And they're to not save seeds is really kind of wasteful. And on a homestead, that every penny counts, especially if you're trying to homestead full time. Being able to harvest your own seeds to use for next year, or even sell for next year, start plants, is huge. Because you don't think that the couple of dollars here and the couple of dollars there, it doesn't really register in your brain when you spend $1 or $2 to buy seeds. But when you add it all up at the end of the year, how much money did you actually spend on seeds to plant your garden? Which, it may not be that much, but expensive is kind of a relative term to everybody. So when I was still working my job in the RV factory before I was let go, something that's only $5, or we spent a lot of money to set up our infrastructure to start seeds inside, and I bought lights and all that kind of stuff, which to some people the amount that I spent was a lot of money, but for the amount that I was making, I didn't think it was that expensive. Now that it's the middle of October and I haven't had a job in 3 months, nothing that is permanent anyway, it's the amount that I spent was a lot of money that could be going towards other things. And even then, it was still probably a lot of money that I could have spent in other places a lot wiser. But hindsight's always 20/20, right? But harvesting these seeds, if I am able to get a farmer's market that I can sell plants at, basil is a plant that everybody can use. Almost everybody that I know uses basil in one form or another, whether it's dried or fresh, in their cooking. So, but that was all of our plants, and you see how much we actually got off of just those. And that took maybe 5-10 minutes. I'm not sure how long I've been out here, but like I said, I did it in real time so you could see. We're going to actually go into the garage for the next step to actually get the seeds out of their little pods so that I can show you the rest of the process. Our next step in harvesting these basil seeds is actually to get a little metal sieve. We actually got a 3-pack, I believe, at Aldi. It was a great price. There's 3 different sizes. This one's the big one. The pack we had, each size has a different set of holes. This one is the largest. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a scoop, and then we're just going to run it around in here, and that's going to break the seeds out of the little pods. And I'll show you a pod here. Each of the little pods has a seed, and to get the seed out, we're just breaking, because everything is dry, we're breaking down the dry part, and it's releasing the seed through the mesh of the sieve. And the seeds actually just drop right through the sieve with the rest of the little fine stuff. And we'll go back through again and we'll push everything back through, because even just doing this little bit, I'm having some that keeps coming over the side and dropping back down in there. But I'm also seeing a lot of seeds dropping out. The more you do it, the more seeds we're going to get. So I'm just going to go through this process with all of what I have in the tub, and I will bring you back in the next step. I've gone through everything that was in here and I've crushed it all down, but I put it all back in because if you can see in the bottom of here, there is still a lot of seeds left. So I'm just going to shake them all to the bottom, because the chaffy stuff here is a lot lighter than the seeds. So if you shake it down, all the seeds will drop to the bottom of the sieve, and you can start pulling off the chaffy stuff and not getting any seeds in it. And I'm not seeing any seeds on my bench anymore. So I know it's working, because there was a lot of seeds on the bench still when I was dumping everything out. So we're just going to keep doing that and pulling off a little bit of the chaff off the top and keep shaking it down. The more you take out, the more room you have to move around and shake. And we'll see how many more seeds we're going to get, because a lot of them do fall through the sieve because they are tiny seeds. So a lot of them are actually falling through without having to push them. But we'll just keep shaking it down, and there's quite a few seeds in here. And now that we got most of the chaff out, you can see all the little black specks in here are the seeds. So out of what we had already gone through and pushed through, that was still seeds that was left in there, that all they were doing was floating inside the chaff. So what we're going to do is shake all of this down to the bottom of the bin. And we're going to do the same thing, because the seeds are heavier than everything else. They'll float down to the bottom, and we can pull off all the light stuff, and there shouldn't be any seeds in it. Now that we have all the big stuff out and everything's shaken down, now the part where we come in handy the most is having a good set of lungs, because we're going to sit here with the thing and we're just gonna and you see all this coming out, that's just chaff. There's no seed in it. So you need to be careful not to blow too hard. Otherwise you'll blow the seeds out. And then we shake it down a little bit again. Which just might be easier with a smaller bowl, which I might try, or something with a shallower sides anyway. But the goal is to just get the light, fluffy stuff off, and the seeds will stay in there. You can see I've blown all of it out, and there's still a little bit of chaff left in there, but that's not that big of a deal. But you see there is a ton of seeds in here. You can go as far as you want when you're trying to clean it out and get just the seeds, but all you're doing is adding organic matter in with your seed when you plant. If you leave it about like this, I would say the packets you buy from like your hardware store, or the little gurneys, or the more known, widely distributed brands, the amount of seed that's here is going to be probably be 3 or 4 packets worth. The packet we bought from Baker Creek this year, this was probably 1 packet, 2 packets worth. Probably more towards the 2 packets. And I still have this many seeds on the plant still. So if I harvest a whole nother set, I will get at least this many seeds again. So you figure 1 packet of the store-bought seeds is going to run $3, maybe $4. I organically grew everything, so I didn't spray any pesticides, any herbicide, any fertilizer. So these seeds are more towards the organic side. They may not be 100% organic because they didn't come from organic genetics, but they are still great seeds. So the next step is going to be putting them in a paper envelope, because the paper will absorb any moisture that gets into it. They shouldn't sprout. It'll be dark enough. I actually have Casey going to the store right now to get me envelopes to put my seeds in, because we also harvested green bean seeds this year. Now that we have all the basil seeds sorted out from the rest of the chaff that comes along with it, it's going to get put in an envelope labeled the type of basil, which I can't remember off the top of my head, the year, and it's going to go into probably my filing cabinet. I think is going to be the best place to keep it, and we'll be able to start seeds with it next year. So the seeds that we bought at the beginning of this year not only got us the plants that we planted this year, but the harvest of basil we got this year, but now seeds for next year that we will not only be able to use for ourselves, but to grow to sell for other people to plant in their gardens. I'm going to end this video. Please like and comment on this video, as well as share it with all your friends. We are on Facebook and Instagram, and I have links in the description box below. Hit the subscribe and the little notification bell next to it to get notified when we post a new video. And until next time, we'll see ya.